welcome back to This Can't Min Show. I am your host, Miss Cybulski, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. So this week, our new news is that it is the Ascension. Whoa, cool. What does that mean? Great questions. I love it. That's awesome. Great job. We are going to have all school mass on Ascension. And before I get started talking about Ascension too much, I might as well just bring in somebody to chat with us. So, I think I definitely hear some baby sharks. Sorry, was that baby shark that I just heard? I think so. That means that our good man, Father Logue, will be on the show with us. Welcome back to the show, Father Logue.
It's great to be back.
How you doing?
Doing well, thanks.
How's the life?
Pretty good. Excited for summer.
Oh, yes, summer.
I haven't had a summer break in a little while as a priest, so getting used to that again.
You're gonna get like your tan on and stuff?
Maybe.
Do you tan?
Maybe I'll come back with a big beard. We'll see.
I feel like you just burned. Do you just burn?
No, I tan all right.
Okay, right. I say you're like taking like 20 vacations this summer?
At least, yeah.
Oh, now I'm up to 22. Like, what the heck? Okay. You're gonna take a vacation on your vacation.
That sounds pretty good, actually.
Oh, gosh. Can I get this life? Let's trade. Just kidding, I don't want that. Okay, anyways, sorry. So we are talking about the Ascension. So, Father Logue, what is the Ascension? Like...
Yeah, so 40 days after Easter, Jesus gathered his disciples and he ascended up into heaven. He gave them the sort of last instructions and then went up, left it in their hands.
Just like floated
up,
floated away.
Disappeared, yeah.
Oh, that would have been an interesting thing to
witness?
Like, oh, like, bye, Jesus.
I don't know how fast he went, but...
It's like an elevator. Oh, okay. Anyways, so what I find interesting, so the Ascension after Easter, after the resurrection, Jesus dies, resurrects, or goes up to heaven, comes back down. And then I kind of feel like, and we've been hearing this a lot in the Gospels recently, that he like bebops in and out. He's like, hey guys, I'm here, and then poof, disappears, and then he's like, I'm back. You didn't see me there, but don't worry, I'm back again. Like, why is Jesus bebopping all over the place? Like, what?
Yeah, so we call those the post-resurrection appearances, or bebopping. It also works.
The post-resurrection bebops.
Right. Where he was appearing to the disciples on the road to Emmaus. He was appearing to them in the upper room. He was appearing to them in Galilee.
Thomas,
doubting Thomas. He was giving him some encouragement. All these times he was seeing him to the women at the tomb. Different times, other people were reporting that they had seen Jesus, all of this stuff. And so... First of all, he wanted to make sure that they understood that he really rose from the dead. So in most of these cases, he's either letting them actually touch his wounds or somehow know that he's actually there. A lot of times he's eating something to show I'm not a ghost. Like, hey, do you have anything to eat? Not that he's particularly hungry, just he wants to show I'm not just a vision or something.
Yo, guys, they don't feed us up in heaven. Like, I need some food.
Yeah. But ultimately, what he was doing in that time was preparing his disciples and preparing the church to have a different relationship with him after he ascended into heaven. That no longer would he be with them physically and personally like he was, but instead they were going to have to recognize his presence in the sacraments. And I think the greatest example of this, the greatest way to see this, is in the road to Emmaus. When he appears to the disciples, he gives them encouragement. He shows them how he was, all that he did was foreshadowed in the Old Testament. And then ultimately, he sits down with them and he breaks bread. He takes it, blesses it, breaks it, gives it to them, and in that they recognize him. And so what he's trying to show and what the gospel writers are trying to show is from now on, we're going to have to know Jesus in the sacraments. That's how he wants us to know him.
Well, and it was interesting taking the road to Emmaus. In case you don't know the road to Emmaus, quick synopsis thing about we got two disciples just walking away. Jesus just resurrected. They don't totally believe it, so they're like walking away, and then they're like, all of a sudden, this guy starts walking with them, like, what the heck, who are you? We know it's Jesus, though. Like, who the heck are you? And they're like, he's like, what are you guys doing? And so, like, they're like, what? You don't know Jesus died and supposedly rose, but he didn't rise, blah, 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 all this stuff. So Jesus then, like, takes them through the entire scripture, showing where everything connected, Old Testament, New Testament, but they didn't call it Old Testament, New Testament yet. And then like, they, like, came to place. They were going to have some dinner. And she's like, bye. And they're like, no, stay with us. And so they stayed. He broke the bread. That's when they saw him. Nice little synopsis. But it's interesting, like you said, that, like, Jesus' entire time in public ministry, like his 3 years in public ministry, people knew who he was and recognized him just by seeing him, or started to know he was Christ by his actions and stuff.
Yeah.
But during that time, like, these disciples definitely knew who he was.
Yeah.
And so, like, it'd be really weird if I was standing here with Father Logue and I didn't recognize Father Logue, you know, like, oh, like, who the heck are you? Like, what the heck? And, like, I've known him so well. So it's interesting that they didn't see that, but it is through the breaking of the bread, that sacramental moment that they're
able to see him, and so that's what he was encouraging. So.
And I think that kind of makes sense, because it's almost like, okay, so we hear all these stories about Jesus bebopping, post-resurrection bebopping in and out, and it's like, why doesn't he bebop anymore? You know, like, why was I not just walking to Turkey Hill and Jesus didn't, like, walk with me? Like, why not, you know? But yeah, so it's like kind of that different angle thing.
Right. There's also some real beautiful significance to the Ascension. There's a lot of it, certainly, but one of the really neat ones is an image of marriage. So at the time in Jewish culture, a couple would get married and they wouldn't live together at first because the husband would be preparing a home for his wife. And they get married first, and then he would have some time to get the home ready, and then she would move in. That is what Jesus was trying to use as an image for us. And when he said at the Last Supper, I'm going to go to my Father and prepare a place for you, he's saying, I'm the bridegroom, the church is the bride. When I ascend into heaven, I'm preparing that home for you. And then when it's ready, I'm going to take my bride, the whole church, to my new home, which is heaven.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, romantic.
Oh, thanks, Jesus.
In the first century.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want nowadays, you know. Okay, cool. Are there any other, like, key points to the Ascension that you can think of?
Yeah, one other image in it, and that would have been really easy for them to see, and that's the image of the priestly sacrifice. So another element of it is that on certain days of sacrifice, when they would offer these sacrifices to God, part of the ceremony was the priest going into the Holy of Holies, into the heart of the temple, and to present the sacrifice to God. And so Jesus had offered the sacrifice on Good Friday, but what the disciples also would have understood at the Ascension is that he was now, as the high priest, going into the temple to present that sacrifice to God.
And like going into the temple was going into heaven.
Exactly. He's not going into the earthly temple in Jerusalem, but the heavenly temple.
And I might be totally off here, so tell me if I'm totally off. But that's why the temple veil was torn.
Exactly. That Jesus helped break the barriers that kept us apart from God that we had put in place.
Interesting. Wow. So I feel like every year I'm learning more symbolism of Jesus's, like, death, resurrection, Holy Thursday, which, I don't know, that's one of the things I love about our faith is that, like, you just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. You're like, oh, I know everything. And it's like, crap, I didn't know that one. Oh, that's awkward. I went to Catholic school how many years? Yikes. Then I'm like, okay, now I know everything. And it's like,
nope.
Crud. That's a weird moment there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But I think that's a beautiful moment. So I mean, let's take that challenge to you guys. I would really encourage you guys to try to learn maybe a little something new about our faith. Especially, I mean, we have the Ascension right now. Pentecost is also coming up. So maybe those are two areas that you try to discover a little bit more. Seek out asking a question, maybe to a priest, maybe finding some good text, some books, you know, maybe going to the Bible and seeing what God reveals to you. Because it's beautiful how you can learn more and more and more about God, about our faith, about the beauty of it, and everything like that. Yeah.
Scripture is a font of knowledge that will never exhaust.
That's true. So on that note, thank you for joining us. We had a blast today, and we will see you next time. Bye.